it makes this war the most documented war in history. You know, puts everything we know about Vietnam into the shade, because you've got every single incident the military were involved in, every call-out they took, recorded in incredible detail.
There's a big disconnect between the way that British and American people get to hear about the death of their own loved ones in this conflict. The average Iraqi citizen is not getting that honouring.
Leaked Pentagon files obtained by The Guardian contain details for the first time of more than 100,000 people killed in Iraq following the US-led invasion. These reports prove that the US authorities were recording official statistics of Iraqi deaths, something which they have always denied. The filed reports identify all civilian and insurgent casualties, as well as coalition forces wounded and killed in action. The UK-based organisation Iraq Body Count, which records civilian casualties from the war in Iraq, says that it has added 15,000 previously unrecorded deaths to the current Iraq body count total. The logs record a total of 109,032 violent deaths between 2004 and 2009. The logs state that 66,081 of those deaths were civilians.
In terms of numbers of deaths, it's incredibly detailed. There are 52,000 incidents in which at least one person dies, which are recorded on this database. We went through that, and pretty simple analysis shows us that 66,000 civilian deaths are recorded on here, which is the massive total compared to 15,000 Iraqi security forces and 23,000 insurgent deaths. And it even tells us how people died. So we can tell you that of all those deaths, the majority, 34,000 people, were murdered, and another 31,000 died in IED explosions.
Because these logs are incident by incident detailed records, we were able to match them one by one with the incident by incident detailed records we already have in our database. And by very careful sampling, we have been able to estimate that these logs will add 15,000 deaths previously unknown to the Iraq death count.
US officials have consistently downplayed the information they have on civilian casualties. But what these American military logs prove is that this detailed information did exist, but it was just never fully disclosed.
The relatives, the public, need to know this information because any human death is actually a public tragedy. The moment an American soldier or a British soldier dies, the next page in the newspaper, the fact of it is announced, their name, their age, where they were, some personalising, humanising detail about them. All victims of war, including civilians, deserve that same level of respectful acknowledgement. And here we have names coming into the public domain for the first time, which the American government knew about for 6 years and has not released. Families will never give up on this. They will wait decades, centuries, if needed, for the full and proper recognition of the deaths of their loved ones. The number of civilians who died that we didn't know about before, personal details, occupation, age, gender, precisely how they died, all of this information is there in those logs in enormous amount, and it's going to take months and months, if not years, to analyse it all. But we've made a start, and we believe it's in the public interest that everything possible is known about these tragedies.